Hello everyone, my name is David Lopez and today I'm going to talk about communicative language teaching. As the language theories underline the audiolingual method and the situational language teaching method were questioned by prominent linguists like Chomsky in 1957. During the 60s, a new trend of language teaching paved its way into classrooms. Communicative Language Teaching (CLT), which is an approach to the teach of second foreign language, emphasize interaction as both the means and the ultimate goal of learning a language. This is also referred to as communicative approach. Historical CLT has been seen as a response to the audiolingual method and as an extension or development of the national function syllabus. Text-based language learning, a more recent refinement of CLT, has gained considerably in popularity. Shortcomings of structuralism and behaviorism, the theory underlying the audiolingual method and the situational language teaching were widely criticized during the 60s. Noam Chomsky, for instance, rejected the structuralist view of language and demonstrated that there is a distinction between performance and competence. The goal of the linguist is to study the linguistic competence native speakers are endowed with. He also showed rightly that the structuralism and behaviorism were unable to account for one fundamental aspect of language, namely the creativity or uniqueness of individual sentence. A child is able to produce an infinite number of sentences that he has never encountered. This makes the factor of imitation, repetition, and habit formation weak arguments to account for any language learning theory. A shift towards communicative proficiency. The increasing interdependency between the European countries necessitates needed for a greater effort to teach adults the principal language of the continent. New goals were set in language teaching profession. The paramount importance of communication aspects of language. The increasing interest in meaningful learning, the growing centrality of the learning and teaching process, the subordinate importance of structural teaching of language. Learning theory. According to the communicative approach, in order for learning to take place, emphasis must be put on the importance of these variables. Communication activities that involve real communication promote learning. Tasks. Activities in which language is used to carry out meaningful tasks support to learning process. Meaning, the language that meaningful and authentic to the learning-based learning. Merit, merits of CLT. There are many advantages in teaching according to the communicative approach. CLT is a holistic approach. It doesn't focus only on the traditional structural syllabus. It takes into consideration communicative dimension of language. CLT provides vitality and motivation within the classroom. CLT is a learner-centered approach. It capitalizes on the interests and needs of the learner. In a world where communication of information and information technology have broken new considerable ground, CLT can play an important role in education. And for conclusions, CLT is best considered as an approach rather than a method. Approach refers to a diverse set of principles that reflect a communicative view of language and language learning, used to support a variable of classroom procedures. CLT has passed through the numbers of different phrases to apply its principle to different dimensions of the teaching learning process. The first phrase was the needed to develop a syllabus that was compatible with the notion of communication competence. This led to proposal of syllabus in terms of nations or context in which people communicated and functions, has specific purpose for a speaker in given context. For finally, there are some ideas for what is TLC. Okay, this is all for the video. Goodbye, and I hope you are enjoying.